Witkoff and presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner. Israel, meanwhile, is awaiting the return of the bodies of 15 of the Hamas hostages now that the body of another captive has been handed over. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals says President Trump does have the constitutional authority to deploy Oregon National Guard troops to Portland. The matchup for baseball's Fall Classic is set. Toronto will host the Dodgers, a Friday night opening game of the World Series. More details, srnnews.com.
Okay, some good news during a challenging time for everybody, and this could really help. You may know hundreds of thousands of people have already made the switch to MediShare, which is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And with so many people looking at how they're paying for healthcare right now, seeing premiums going up and the cost of healthcare, MediShare has a special offer, and a lot of people are taking advantage of it. Just apply by October 31st, and they'll waive your new member fee. You're saving $100 right off the bat. That's just the start. Obviously, the typical family saves up to $500 a month after making the switch. And MediShare is a Christian community that shared more than $9 billion in medical bills over the years. It's worked beautifully for decades. I'll give you the number here in a second. If you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Just tell them the promo code SHARE to get your additional savings, Sue. Here it is. Call 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE. 844-45-BIBLE.
Your home for Goodland High School athletics. Fort Hays Tech Northwest Tech Tiger basketball, the Denver Broncos, as well as the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer. You're listening to Goodland's Rocket 102.5, KKCI FM, Goodland Colby, an NWKS radio station.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
With NWKS Radio, I'm Connor Schuh. According to the Hays Post, this past Monday, the Kansas Highway Patrol reported a 2007 Dodge pickup going northbound on K27 north of Sharon Springs. The driver felt the vehicle hit something in the road and traveled into a ditch. In the crash, the pickup went airborne and rolled once before coming to rest on its roof. The driver was transported to Goodland Regional Medical Center by EMS, and the driver was reported as not wearing a seatbelt per the KHP. Another accident was reported by the Kansas Highway Patrol, this time north of Colby. A 2012 GMC Sierra struck the rear of a 97 Chevy truck as they were headed northbound near milepost 204 this past Friday. The Chevy driver sustained suspected minor injuries and was transported to Citizens Medical Center in Colby, and the driver of the GMC came away with no apparent injuries. Each driver was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. For these and more stories, go to nwksradio.net.
Freeze warnings and frost advisories will remain active this morning with clear skies, calm winds, and temperatures in the upper 20s and lower 30s under high pressure. This afternoon, the high pressure will move off to the east. Southwest winds become breezy at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Highs will warm into the mid to upper 60s. And tonight, another frost advisory will be issued area-wide with lows expected to be 30 to 35. Tomorrow will be sunny and dry and a bit warmer with highs around 70. Light northeasterly winds will turn to the southeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour with lows in the upper 30s. Thursday and Friday, a cutoff low will move slowly from Southern California through the southern and central plains. This will increase clouds on Thursday with chances for showers and isolated storms increasing overnight and continuing Friday. Highs will be in the middle 60s, lows around 40. Rain showers likely on Friday with highs around 60. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the Insurance Agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, Heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
It's Truck Month at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get behind the wheel of a brand new 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 with 2.9% APR for 72 months. And if GMC's more your style, you're in luck. Drive home a 25 GMC Sierra Elevation with up to $7,000 in customer cash or lock in 0.9% APR on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500. Whether it's power, performance, or pure style, Hurl Chevrolet GMC has the truck to match your drive. Visit hurlchev.com or stop by today in Goodland and make this Truck Month one to remember.
This fall, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you could need. Keep your lawn strong with Ultimate Winterizer, the best defense before the frost. Warm up your evenings and create memories with a new fire pit. Or bring home the flavor with a great selection of grills and smokers from brands like Traeger, Blackstone, Green Egg, and more. And right now, the lumber prices are low, and so are the temperatures, making it the best season to tackle those outdoor projects. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Convenience just got an upgrade. Farmers State Bank of Oakley is excited to announce the opening of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
You ready? One, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
And Connor Schuh.
He's the new guy.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
They're basically idiots.
Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover, back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, the Insurance Agency, Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, and the Farmer State Bank in Oakley.
Let's go to work.
Hands for Scott City again. Here's Gentry. Good swing and a great dig for McKenna Schick. A beautiful pass to Weibel, who puts it down. That was a big-time dig for McKenna Schick. Bierman going to set it in the middle for Libby Cure. And Libby puts it down the near side with a big hammer.
Backward 22, shotguns the hand out to get up the middle to 25 to 30, foot race to the 40, and the numbers of 50, far side 40, foot race to Winfield, far side 30, 20, 10, sideline 5, touchdown! The Lions have scored on a touchdown run by Jahmyr Gibbs, streaking for 78 yards.
The 1-0. Swing and a drive, left field. This one is back. George Springer just had his Kirk Gibson moment. Bad Nino, a 3-run homer to put the Blue Jays ahead.
Another Springer dinger. This time for all the marbles. As the Blue Jays headed back to a World Series for the first time since 1993. Connor Schuh wasn't even alive. The last
not even close.
Blue Jays. I was. Not by a few years old. But, yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. Good Tuesday morning, October the 21st here. Cool, chilly start. Connor's wearing about as much clothing as I've ever seen him put on.
I was freezing this morning, man. This is the biggest sweatshirt I could find. I'm trying to stay warm.
Have you turned the heat on in the apartment yet is the question.
Oh, of course.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. Yeah, they said it's 31 degrees outside, little cool, little brisk out there. Gonna kind of if you step out in, maybe just kind of bite you a little bit, like ooh, okay. It's one of the cooler mornings of the day, but it's amazing enough. I was thinking like I looked at the weather and I'm like, God, it's 31 out. So I went to go grab like a sweatshirt or something like that, or a long sleeve shirt, or the official uniform of radio broadcasters everywhere, the quarter zip. And, and then I was like, it's gonna be 67 today. Okay, t-shirt it is. It's gonna warm up. It'll be fine. It's just so cool.
Yeah, by like 4 o'clock.
See, and I have to be very mindful. Ever since we moved into these new studios, they did a little bit of there was an engineering snafu, is what there was. There's 2 vents in this studio, and it's not very big. I mean, this is a 10 by 10 studio. It's not real big. So not really big at all. And there's 2 heating and air conditioning vents. So it can, when the heater works in here, it works. I'm telling you. And of course, the sensor for that is out in the other room, which is a lot bigger. So this room here gets hot, really hot.
You'll take that in a day like this.
I mean, you will. I'm telling you, but it's like really hot. Like we're talking, we could feel the sun hot sometimes.
Okay.
So you have to be aware of that when you come here. So I just bring short sleeves during the winter and, wear the quarter zip, lighter stuff. But nonetheless, we got a full show for you today. Our good friend from DNVR Broncos, Henry Chisholm's going to join us to recap what he saw on Sunday. That unbelievable fourth quarter comeback from the Denver Broncos. We'll be visiting with him about all that. We will get into plenty of other things as well, other great news to get to. And then in the walk-off, we'll highlight something that's kind of sad, at least in my realm, it looks like, but some sad news a little bit in the walk-off. But we got lots to get to here in this first segment. And the best way I like to tackle a busy first segment is getting to it with the front page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the front page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
So we're going to hit through all the great sporting events from yesterday. Very busy day, local sports-wise. Postseason volleyball got going. State golf got going as well. Congratulations to the Goodland Cowgirl golf team. They sit atop the leaderboard after one day at the 321A state golf tournament there at the Salina Municipal Golf Course. Goodland Cowgirls with a 340 team score, 60 over par. That was 13 strokes better than Cheney and 14 strokes better than Columbus. Those scores have changed from yesterday. That was actually a 14-point lead, but now it's 13. Nonetheless, the Cowgirls leading by 23 strokes at this point in time. Misread that there too, but a great first round from the Goodland Cowgirls, shooting that 340, positioned themselves in a great spot, barring just a complete and absolute meltdown, which I don't see happening, putting themselves in position to probably win a state championship, if not finishing in the top 2. Allison Cure continued to lead the way. Allie with a 3 over 73 in the first round. What a round. 3 over 73 in those conditions yesterday with that kind of wind. That is impressive golf. She has a 1-stroke lead over, I believe it's St. Mary Colgan's Danielle Yagamore at this point in time. But yeah, a really, really good showing from the Goodland Cowgirls yesterday. Very, very good showing. And I was looking at the results here. Boy, I do not know why this is, but I'm looking at the results here. And I don't know if it's because is it underway already in round 2? Maybe it is. But nonetheless, a very, very good showing from the Goodland Cowgirls. They had 3 girls in the top 11. Of course, Allie Cure led with at the first place position. Tori Jones was 6th, and Natalie Cure was at number 11 at this point in time. I did see that Colby's Berylin Stupka did qualify for day 2. She was currently in 12th place when the day ended there after day 1. But the Cowgirls with a really solid showing on day 1 at the Salina Municipal Golf Course. They are they will resume play today a little bit here, and I think the first Cowgirls I saw off the tee will be around 10:30, I think Central Time, 9:30 Mountain Time when they get off the tee. But a great start. Could you imagine battling all that wind yesterday at times? I'm not saying it was as windy as it was out here, but could you imagine battling that wind?
No, I mean, all my golfing has come in Ohio, and we would have windy days every once in a while, but nothing I have ever experienced on a golf course has compared to what the wind is like over here. I mean, I couldn't imagine golfing in that.
Yeah, that's some real stiff stuff. You got to learn how to hit the low stinger shots,
Yeah.
Keep it out
Right.
of the wind.
I don't have that in my toolbox.
Yeah, neither. I don't think I really do either, to be honest with you. So, but anyway, a state golf update for a Goodland Cowgirls team, and also Braylon Stupka still alive for round 2 today. The Colby girls golf team will not make it as a team. They did not finish in the top 6 spots. But Goodland in a good spot to possibly bring home another state championship in golf if they can continue their great play they had from day number 1. Moving on, high school volleyball yesterday. I admit I had a misread yesterday. I said that, all area teams would be in action. I was wrong. Just 3A and 2A volleyball teams were in action yesterday. And 3 of the 4, that included, will be advancing into Saturday's play for sub-state volleyball. Goodland finished regionals runners-up to Ellsworth. Ellsworth won the Goodland Regional. They were a very impressive team with a couple of really, really good players. Did a great job, but as Coach Angie Brumbaugh said post-game, she thought a lot of things that Goodland did wrong in that championship, if you want to call it that match, could have been easily were correctable, and we'll see what that means going forward. Colby's season ended. They had a really hellacious draw. They had to go to Hoisington. They also had Beloit there. Those are 2 powerhouse 3A programs. Colby ended up going 1-2. They did get a win over Larned, but they end their season at 15-23 overall. Oakley, they finished runners-up at their regionals. They're in Colby at the event center. They finished runners-up to Smith Center, and Rollins County also advanced, and they finished runners-up to Medicine Lodge, who's 32-4. I remember seeing that in their regional. I think that happened over at Osborne is where that took place. But Goodland, Oakley, Rollins County, they're still alive for Saturday. I've looked online to see where they could be going. I have not seen anything posted yet, so I do not know where they will be going or who they will be playing in the next round. I have not seen anything posted like that yet on the Keisha website. So I'm like a lot of people. Everyone was asked this morning, where do you think we're going? Where do you think they're going? I don't know. I still don't know. We will find out, I'm guessing, today at some point in time, but I have not seen anything posted where it says, here's where you're going to be going for the next round. Apparently, they're still compiling that information to see where they will be going. So we'll just have to wait and see. But overall, I thought a solid performance from Goodland and from the other teams to advance to the next round. And today there will be plenty more volleyball action. Quinter will host La Crosse and Stockton. Greeley County hosts Central Plains and Ellis. St. Francis and Decatur Community are with Nest City and Osborne. That's all happening at Logan High School. Shiloh will host Thunder Ridge and Wallace County up there in Bird City. Weston goes to Dighton with Western Plains, and Wheatley-Grinnell will host Northern Valley, Golden Plains, and Tri-Plains Brewster. That's all happening at Waukene. Once again, having to finish in the top two in order to advance to the next round. That's what's kind of weird about yesterday, Connor. So you played 2 matches in a row. Well, you played 3 consecutive matches in a row, but the first 2 matches, if you won those, that means you guaranteed your spot to advance to the postseason. Then you played this third game in the case of Goodland, for example, against Ellsworth, which you wanted to win for better seeding, but you already advanced.
It wasn't 100% necessary to win.
Yeah, it's right. It wasn't 100% necessary. You already had punched your ticket to the next round, so it was kind of odd. It was really kind of odd. I honestly, in my opinion, I don't know exactly how I feel about this new postseason format. I'm fine with it, and it's fine. I don't understand it entirely. That's maybe why I'm not a humongous fan of it yet. I remember the one time a few years. I guess this is probably one of the better things about COVID. I remember when they did COVID, and there was, I think you had like a regional tournament, and then after you played that regional tournament, then you would have to go play another team in like an Elite 8 game in order to advance to state, and that was like a 5-set Elite 8 match, and those were awesome. Those were great.
Need that today.
I would love to see those. That was a lot more fun than what we've seen at times. Than this, because like I said, it was odd. It's odd. Like, oh yeah, we won that second match. All right, we're advanced to the next round. We got one more match, and yes, if you win it, you win yourself a plaque, and if you don't, you're still moving on. It's kind of interesting, but we'll have to wait and see where all these teams go when it is all said and done here in the coming hours, and hopefully in the coming days we'll know more. All right, moving on here on the front page. How about that Game 7 last night? Blue Jays beat the Mariners 4-3, come from behind. They're trailing 3-1. George Springer, as described by Carl Ravitch on ESPN Radio, said he had his Kirk Gibson moment as been some knee issues there for George Springer. He wasn't as hobbled as Kirk, let's be honest.
I mean, Kirk could barely make it around the bases.
Right, exactly. But George Springer with a 3-run shot to put them up in the bottom of the seventh, and then the bullpen holds on. I'm guessing you watched a lot of this. What did you take away from that Game 7?
It was that's like a classic playoff baseball game. That's my big takeaway. I mean, starting pitching wasn't as big of a factor as we saw in, let's say, the Dodgers series, but the way those bullpens battled, and then that fight when Brian Wu came in the game, you're like, oh geez, they're gonna bring out one of their best starters, so it's gonna be nails from here. Nope. Blue Jays were able to kind of rally against him, and you saw George Springer come to the plate, and even I kind of thought, I feel like he might have a moment in him here, and then of course he delivered, and then that Blue Jays bullpen was nails. I mean, they brought out 2 of their starters, Gausman and Bassett, and then Jeff Hoffman, who's really kind of struggled this year as a closer. I mean, he picked up a lot of saves, but he had like a 5 ERA. He came in and he struck out the side, got J-Rod on a 3-2 slider. That was beautiful. I loved it.
4-3 the win for the Blue Jays. Once again, I feel like this was exciting, and it's great to see the Blue Jays back in the World Series for the first time since 1993. Like we said, Connor wasn't even alive when that happened, or even close to being alive. It's been a long, long time.
10 years before.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, because once again, you're having to face the absolute money, the Scrooge McDuck money pits of the Dodgers coming up here in the next on Friday, starting in Game 1, and I just feel like that is going to be a mountain that's going to be really hard to topple.
That's true, but I don't know. Something tells me it's just a gut feeling that the Blue Jays have something special, and it's just one of those years where it's going to be hard to stop them no matter what happens. It almost reminds me of the Nationals team in 2019. It's like maybe not the most star-studded group. I mean, I guess the Nationals had Scherzer, Strasburg, Trey Turner, a couple other guys, but it was still a squad that was made up of a good handful of guys you wouldn't expect to necessarily be like coming through in these huge situations time and time again in the playoffs. And the Blue Jays kind of have that with a little less talent, but I think they have with all pieces together as one. I think they're bigger than the sum of their parts, and that's gonna give them a chance. I'm not gonna say they're gonna go out and win the World Series, because the Dodgers are what they are, but I don't know. The Dodgers always have a couple bullpen collapses in them, no matter how well Rocky's been pitching, I think.
Well, we will see what happens starting on Fridays when that series. How do you feel for the Mariners? I mean, I feel pretty sad for them. I mean, they still have yet to make a World Series. But it was a great season, a special season up there in the Pacific Northwest. Think about Cal Raleigh, another homer. I think he ends his year with 65 or 66 home runs total. Oh, that's an unbelievable number. I feel bad for the Mariners. I was kind of pulling for them to get it done, but hey, I don't know. And then didn't they have a 2-0 lead when this was? I think they did have a 2-0 lead.
They did at one point.
No, it was like the game. Yeah, it was a 2-0 lead in this series. Blue Jays tied up at 2. Mariners take game 5, and the Blue Jays win the rest. Yeah. Could not get that offense going, and so you've got to have some unbelievable pitching. I'm telling you, pitching is just so important to shut down bats late in these games. And look at the Blue Jays. They're going to starters in the last 3 innings.
Yeah, they threw 2 of them. I mean,
maybe it's a bullpen. I guess I get it's a bullpen day, but you're going to throw everything you can to make it to the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you have to pull out all the stops you can. But like you said, I do feel bad for the Mariners. I mean, I was pulling for Blue Jays a little bit more, but I would have been happy seeing either team in there. And of course, the Mariners, I mean, you got to feel bad. I mean, they've never made a World Series. Like they had that year where they broke the wins record back in was that 2001?
Yeah, I think that was 2001.
And they didn't even they didn't crack the World Series. And it's like they've had their chances, but for whatever reason, the stars haven't aligned for them. So it's like, come on, like if it's not going to happen now, like when's it going to happen?
Yeah. I don't know. Some quick NFL news for you here. Came across this yesterday. Chiefs rookie Omar Norman Lott will miss the rest of the season after tearing his ACL in Sunday's win against the Raiders. The second-round pick, I believe out of Tennessee is where he was from, was carried off the field by his teammates in the third quarter. Finishes his rookie season with just 5 tackles and a sack, but that's going to hurt the depth there for that Chiefs defensive line. We'll see if they want to do anything at the trade deadline to help bolster that. And then how about Broncos linebacker Dre Greenlaw suspended a game for unsportsmanlike conduct towards a referee. He said had a verbal threat towards Brad Allen as he was leaving the field. And so Greenlaw will have a 1-game suspension unless he wants to appeal, which he can do. But
he'll have that.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Did you watch any Monday Night Football last night? I watched the tail end of Buccaneers-Lions. It was pretty much over. The Lions stifled Baker Mayfield for most of the night. He didn't have the type of magical performance that we've seen from him. Instead, it was Jahmyr Gibbs who ran for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then in the late game, the Seahawks and Texans, which I think I only made it to like early in the third quarter and I was asleep. So didn't make it to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Seahawks win though 27-19. Did you watch any of this football last night?
I caught the first quarter or so of the Lions-Bucks game and saw Jahmyr Gibbs wreak havoc. I think part of that period of the game, he had like a 78-yard touchdown rush, and he's just such a dynamic athlete. He's really fun to watch run the ball. And then him in the pass game too, I think he had 80 receiving yards on top of that rushing performance. Yep. So he's one of those guys that you just give the ball and just let him go to work. I mean, he is, I think you could say, one of the better talents of this general era of football the past 5 to 10 years. He's up there.
I think they clocked him at 22 miles per hour yesterday. I'm pretty sure last night he was booking. I get so, continuing the Lions, I just am so impressed with the way that they have built that roster and constructed it. You think about they built through the offensive line. They had a lot of great draft picks on the offensive line. They developed those guys in the offensive line. They got a quarterback that works in their system. They have 2 running backs that have kind of 2 different styles. You have kind of a hammering back with Montgomery and the speed back with Gibbs.
Thunder and lightning.
They don't have like the supers. They have one great wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Everyone else is just kind of gets the job done. I feel like they just did a great job. And defensively, they have been just riddled with injuries the last couple of years, particularly defensively. Yet they still find ways to win games. So I've always been impressed with what the Lions have done. And they made a great point. Did Troy Aikman on the telecast last night? He made a comment like, remember coming here for Thanksgiving, and the season was pretty much over and those games were no fun. This is now one of the funnest places to come watch and call a football game is Detroit. I mean, it's true though.
It is true.
It's true. It's a party.
You remember the period where they were
bad.
Sorry, and they would play every Thanksgiving. And there was a period there where they were playing competitive football and they made the playoffs every couple of years with Stafford. But then there was that real lull when he started to get hurt. And before Dan Campbell got there, that was a rough period for those Lions fans.
Yeah, that was a tough one for sure. But how far is Detroit from where you're from? That can't be terribly far.
It's like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a cakewalk. It's like going to Hugoton.
Basically. Yeah. Tells you how different things are there.
Oh, so different. So much different. And then last night, the Seahawks beat the Texans 27-19. Are you surprised how poor the Texans are?
Yeah, they have a lot of talent on especially the defensive side of the ball. This is a team that employs Will Anderson, who's probably one of the better pass rushers in the league, and he hasn't really been able to do enough for that defense, but they've got a lot of other guys on that defense. Kamari Lassiter is a really talented young defensive back. Daniil Hunter, this guy was one of the best pass rushers in the league a couple of years ago. He's kind of dwindled a little bit in recent years, but they make up a really nice duo on the edges. They have some other nice guys up front. And then on the offensive end, who would have thought CJ Stroud was going to drop like this in production. I mean, he had that incredible rookie year, and he had a slight sophomore slump. He still had a fine year, but now it's like he's stayed in this free fall, and he hasn't been able to really improve. And unfortunately for them, Nick Chubb hasn't really been what he was with Cleveland in his prime years. And granted, he's been ravaged by injuries, so he is just not the same guy. And then in terms of the receiving room, they have Nico Collins, and he's awesome. But after him, they're kind of just taking flyers on a couple of young guys, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. But other than that, I mean, you lose Diggs in the offseason, and on top of that, Tank Dell is hurt. I think he's out for the year. I'm not entirely sure, but it's just not. I guess now that I'm really kind of saying it, now I guess it's easier to expect that they had the struggles they've had. But
it's just amazing to me to see. Well, and I don't know, I shouldn't say amazing. It happens all the time, but it's just impressive to see Stroud, who had a pretty good rookie season. First couple of years he was pretty darn good, and these last few years have been tough. I think it kind of comes down when you have no running game and your offensive line kind of struggles to protect you. He was sacked 3 times last night. It's hard to win football games. So we'll see. But yeah, the Texans, I'm surprised just how I'm not surprised that they're struggling. I'm just surprised maybe how bad they look at times.
Yes. One quick note. They also lost their left tackle in the offseason, Laramie Tunsil. So
yeah,
that'll do it.
Valid point. There you go. The front page for you here on this Tuesday. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we will visit with our good friend from DNVR Broncos. That would be Henry Chisholm. Talk about the amazing comeback that he witnessed on Sunday. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
At Harvest, every acre tells the truth. And if you waited to see this season, you might be watching your yields slip away. Next year, don't wait and see. Know with TrivaPro. As the hardest working, longest lasting corn fungicide, TrivaPro works overtime to beat back disease, boost plant health, and preserve yield. For more bushels in the bin when it matters most. In 2026, don't wait to know. Go TrivaPro. Call your retailer today. Always read and follow label instructions.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
This is Austin Wright, the Anderson Trade Group, in your morning market update. It is October 21st. Cease corn, 422. March 26 corn, 435 and 3/4. May 26 corn, 444 and a half. December KC wheat, 487 and a half. March 26 KC wheat, 507 and a quarter. May 26 KC wheat, 520 and 3/4. November soybeans, 1033 and a half. January 26 soybeans, 1051 and 3/4. March 26 soybeans, 1065 and a quarter. Dow Jones futures are currently down 8 points at 46,905. S&P 500 futures are currently up 0.25 points at 6,744. NASDAQ futures are currently down 5 points at 25,300. Gold futures are currently down 139 points at 4,219. Crude is currently up 32 cents at 57.84. For your grain marketing needs or more information on our freedom pricing tools, you can reach the Kansas City office, Jared Law, Tyler Gosh, Tom Solito at 913-748-3000. In Colorado, John Hankey and John Stiles, 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report
label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices. Always up early. Always getting the job done. Always working as hard as you can. Always pushing for more. Because you never settle. For farmers who seek outstanding performance they can count on, the only brand is DeKalb Corn. Featuring a broad portfolio of products precision bred to maximize profit potential on every field. DeKalb brand. Never settle. See us at DeKalb.com. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Want to be part of the Morning Blitz?
Sometime I'll give you a piece of my mind, like right now.
Send your thoughts to the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222.
We'll get to some questions on the text line here in our next segment, and also some news surrounding Kansas men's basketball in segment number 3. Want to continue to talk a little bit about what we witnessed this past Sunday, because I don't think we see it very often, but the unbelievable comeback from the Denver Broncos over the New York Football Giants, scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter, and a man who witnessed it all firsthand was our good friend from DNVR Broncos, Henry Chisholm, who's kind of to spend some time with us this morning. He joins us on the Hoover Lumber's Hardware Hotline. Good morning, Henry. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Doing good.
Have you recovered from that fiasco that you saw on Sunday?
I think so. I think we've finally gotten to that point. But that was a crazy game. I like you said, we've never really seen anything like it. We probably won't see anything like it again. To have 0 points going into the fourth quarter, and then to score 33 points in the fourth quarter to pull out a one-point win, that's just something that, we won't see again.
Henry, why do you think the Broncos struggle so much on offense, it seems like, for a good 2.5, 3 quarters almost every week, and then in the fourth quarter, something clicks?
They just find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. They're about the most penalized team in the NFL. I think by penalty yards, they're the worst in the NFL. I think by penalties, they're near the worst in the NFL. So you have a bunch of drives, maybe 25% of their drives just never get off the ground because it starts with a holding, or it starts by a false start that gets you at 1st and 15, and they just aren't quite good enough to overcome those sorts of things. There's the just little mistakes. We talked about it yesterday on the podcast, but the screens, they called 11 screens this week. They run more screens than any team in the NFL. You go back and look, of those 11 screens, 9 of them should have had a real chance to go get you 10 or more yards, but you just see Evan Ingram misses a block. 2 of them didn't work out because Cortland Sutton missed a block. Troy Franklin and Garrett Bowles had a chance to double team a guy, splits them, and then you lose yards on that one. It's just all of these little things that don't go their way, and a lot of them their own fault, that set them behind the sticks and they just can't make up for it. And then you get to the fourth quarter and they lock in and just stop shooting themselves in the foot, and they're off and running and they score every time they get the ball.
Henry, you take a look at Bo Nix's season so far, and I feel like from a slight outsider's perspective, it just seems kind of all over the place. What do you make of it so far?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Probably a little frustrating for Broncos fans. You want to see him just take that step, become one of the NFL's best quarterbacks, because he played really well last year. And there's still a bunch of stats to back up that he's playing some decent football. But again, for him, he shoots himself in the foot. I think it was 3, maybe 4 deep balls this week he had a chance to complete over a guy's shoulder and potentially pick up a huge gain. Just overthrows all of them, which you just can't have. And it's kind of been the book on him since his time at Oregon. He has a tendency to overthrow some of those deep balls. And when you miss those opportunities, it makes it really tough to win games. Early on in the season, he has seemed jittery, a little bit overhyped up, wasn't setting his feet. And there's still a bit of that, but now it just seems the offense just isn't quite clicking. It seems like they're late getting up to the line of scrimmage, late to snap the ball, not giving them a lot of time to sit back and think. Again, like when you miss those deep passes, they showed the stat during the game. Up until the fourth quarter, he was 4 of 22 this season when throwing the ball 20 or more yards downfield. Well, now all of a sudden the defense doesn't fear you deep. They're willing to give you some opportunities on those deep passes, leave some one-on-one coverage back there, and instead push the defense up closer to the line of scrimmage, taking away a bit of the run game, taking away some of those underneath passes. To me, it's just you got to hit some of those long ones, soften that defense up, and then maybe that frees Bo up to carve guys up underneath the way that he has in the past.
Henry Chisholm, our guest from DNVR Broncos, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline. Going back to the offense and the struggles for pretty much most of the first 2.5, 3 quarters, are you putting more blame on Bo Nix, on Sean Payton? If you had to assess the blame, where would you kind of point the finger at this point in time?
To me, it's just the execution. To me, you leave the game on Sunday saying, I don't know how Sean calls all of those screens. Like, how can you do that 11 times in the game when they're just not working? And then the next morning they put the all 22 up and you go back and watch. And again, 9 of those 11 screens really should have gone for big games. It's just that they can't make their blocks. And it's Cortland Sutton out there against a 180-pound cornerback, and somehow with a 50-pound advantage, you're not able to just get in his way for a second. And again, that's just the screens, but I think that same thing kind of applies across the board. To me, the play calling, the coaching, every Sunday you leave the game saying, why is he doing that? And then by Monday afternoon, you're saying, oh no, that all worked. That all should have worked. It's just that for some reason, one guy screws up on any given play and it just goes for nothing.
How surprised were you that the defense gave up as many points as they did through those first 3 quarters to the Giants?
Yeah, it was an interesting one because I think it was 19 going into that fourth quarter. And it wasn't like a consistent issue as much as, the first touchdown, they blow a coverage. Tauno Funga takes a step up on the run fake. Tight end just gets behind him. A little miscommunication, maybe not even that, just lack of chemistry, understanding whether Singleton's passing it off to Ufunga, whether Singleton's supposed to run. You'd hope by now those things are worked out, but it is still only week 7. You've got a couple more months to try to get everything totally ironed out. But it was plays like that were probably the reason that they were giving up so many points. I don't want to say the reason for concern, I guess. But you have the Giants with Cam Scadaboo. You know what they're trying to do. They just want to run the ball. They run the ball 32 times in that game and pick up 3.7 yards per carry. Now, the run you remember is when Tyrone Tracy just takes it up the middle for 30 yards and a touchdown because things fall apart. But sometimes that happens. You run the ball 32 times, 31 of them, you stuff them at the line of scrimmage. There's that one that breaks through. You want to get rid of those. But all things considered, I think they played pretty well. And that fourth quarter is just so tough you almost just have to throw it out because I have no idea what happened on either side of the ball there. It's just chaos, and somehow the Broncos came out on top. I guess the last thing, I leave the game thinking, that pass rush was a bit disappointing, after what they've been doing this year. On pace for 84 sacks coming into that game. But they did have 4 sacks, and there were 11 teams coming into this week in the NFL who didn't have a 4-sack game yet. So I think those standards are just so high right now that anytime you don't see Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper in the backfield at the same time, you're like, oh no, what's going wrong? Have they lost their magic?
Yeah, once again, Henry Chisholm, our guest here at DNVR Broncos. You look at these first 7 games right now, 5-2, atop of the AFC West. I mean, if you had to kind of just assess these first 7 games, knowing what you know about the struggles by the offense, yet still finding ways to win, I mean, where do you kind of put this team as they get ready for kind of that middle third of the season?
I think I'd feel a little bit down on them if not for what was happening across the rest of the AFC. You look around and say, I guess the Colts are really good. Maybe that's the one team you look at and say, like, okay, every single week they're scoring 30 points. They're winning pretty easily. They're not making mistakes. But outside of that, you look around the division leaders. The Steelers have their flaws. The let's see, the North, you would have, well, I'm blanking on it, but all these teams, whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Chiefs, whether it's obviously like the Ravens are kind of out of it. The Bills and the Patriots are in the East. That's right. And neither one of them looks perfect, although the Patriots are kind of trending up. I think that when you look at all these AFC teams, they're just so flawed that the Broncos kind of fit right in, right? Where you say like that defense is really, really good. And the stats back that up. And that pass rush is even better somehow than last year's pass rush, where they had 10 more sacks than any other team in the NFL. You've got to find a little bit more consistency. The pieces are there. I think, the J.K. Dobbins runs for almost 6 yards per carry this week. How are you not getting him the ball more? Why is it only 14 carries? That run game has been a little bit hit or miss, but I think that's kind of just run games in the NFL when you don't have a Saquon, you don't have a Derrick Henry. And you even look at those guys this year, it's not what they were last year. So I think the pieces are there. I think what you see on in fourth quarters is great, and it's why they've been able to pull out a couple of these games that maybe they shouldn't have. Defense just needs to keep it up. Run game, you got to trust a little bit more. You got to lean on it a little bit more. And if you can just get Bo a little bit sharper and get those weapons a little bit more friendly for him, that's where you could see them in position to make some sort of run.
How fascinated is this matchup this weekend with that defense against this Cowboy offense that's putting up a bunch of points?
Oh, I mean, it should be incredible TV. I think what the Cowboys are doing on offense is probably what they should be doing. When you look at George Pickens and Dak Prescott and CD, like they have the tools to put up numbers, and now they're, for the first time in a few years, kind of just doing the things that they should be capable of doing. It's fun seeing Javonte Williams. I think he's still number 2 in the NFL in rushing yards right now. Having him come back, like I said, J.K. Dobbins running the ball pretty well for the Broncos. That's going to be a bit of an underrated matchup there, those two going back and forth. And you have that Cowboys defense that, it has its holes. The question is just whether the Broncos are capable of exploiting those holes. Because I think there are a lot of offenses, again, crazy that the Colts are what they are. But if you told me the Colts are going up against that Cowboy defense, I'd say, they might get 40. They might put 40 on this defense. Are the Broncos capable of doing that when they have what should be an advantage over that defense? I'm not sure. I think that's going to be kind of the test, because for as well as the Broncos defense has played, it's really hard to keep a team like the Cowboys with all those explosive plays that runs a bunch of plays underneath, the 24 points. So you just have to have the offense keep up with the Cowboys offense this week. And that's a very different test than what they've seen the last couple of weeks with the Giants, with the Jets, and with the Eagles.
He is Henry Chisholm, DNVR Broncos, our good friend there. Thank you so much, Henry. Appreciate the time. Great stuff. And we'll catch up with you down the road.
Yep. Anytime.
Once again, great stuff there from Henry Chisholm here on the Morning Blitz. We'll see. That should be some, like you said, some great television here on Sunday with the Cowboys offense against that Broncos defense. We'll see if they can get the stops they need. I'd be a little concerned after the Giants put up 33, but I think the Giants are kind of up and coming with their young duo there in the backfield. But yeah, interesting matchup, and yeah, hard to almost put into words what we witnessed on Sunday in that fourth quarter, but Henry did a pretty good job of that. All right, let's get to our break. When we come back, some news surrounding one former Kansas basketball player who gets paid yesterday, and also another thought from a college basketball guru on Kansas basketball next during the Morning Blitz.
When severe weather strikes, you need to stay informed. At NWKS Radio, we break in anytime, anywhere, giving you the latest watches and warnings to protect your family. When severe weather breaks out, we break in. Severe weather coverage is brought to you by Roof Masters of Colby, Pathway Ag, and Andrew Flanagan of Farm Bureau Financial Services. NWKS Radio, your weather safety station.
This fall, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you could need. Keep your lawn strong with Ultimate Winterizer, the best defense before the frost. Warm up your evenings and create memories with a new fire pit. Or bring home the flavor with a great selection of grills and smokers from brands like Traeger, Blackstone, Green Egg, and more. And right now, the lumber prices are low, and so are the temperatures, making it the best season to tackle those outdoor projects. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
2025 is on the way, and let's be honest, we're just as curious as you are about what it'll bring. Sherman County Community Development is ready for whatever surprises the new year has in store. New shops, events, who knows? Shop local, shop Sherman County.
Tonight's dreams are brought to you by a brand new mattress from Goodland Furniture and Sleep Center. With prices so good, you'll sleep easy, financing that won't keep you up at night, and local delivery to tuck you right in to your bedroom. Sweet dreams are just one stop away at Goodland Furniture and Sleep Center. Warning, side effects may include snoring, smiling, and refusing to get out of bed. Sleep better, sit better, and live better with Goodland Furniture and Sleep Center.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
It's Truck Month at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get behind the wheel of a brand new 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 with 2.9% APR for 72 months. And if GMC's more your style, you're in luck. Drive home a 25 GMC Sierra Elevation with up to $7,000 in customer cash, or lock in 0.9% APR on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500. Whether it's power, performance, or pure style, Hurl Chevrolet GMC has the truck to match your drive. Visit hurlchev.com or stop by today in Goodland and make this Truck Month one to remember.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
All right, got about 10 minutes, a little less than that actually, to get to here in the show. Thanks again to Henry Chisholm for joining us on the program. Get to the text line here in just a minute. Did want to get to some news. Connor's excited tonight. The NBA is getting underway.
Finally, man. Come on.
Oh, God, finally. I could care less about the NBA.
What?
Sucks. NBA is horrific basketball. It is not basketball if you don't play defense. So
but
all you youngins out there love the NBA because it's great basketball, and it's not. It's horrific.
It's not all bad defense. You're just not watching enough.
It's not. Yeah, because I don't watch any of it. The NBA is garbage. Hot garbage.
My point.
It's fine. It's hot garbage. But yeah, the NBA does start tonight. Speaking of the NBA, congratulations to former Kansas Jayhawk Christian Brown. Signed a 5-year, $125 million contract with the Nuggets yesterday, giving him $25 million per year, one of the highest paid former Jayhawks in the NBA. Brown coming off a season where he started 77 games, averaging 15 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, shot 58% from the field, and just shy of 40% from 3. Are you a Christian Brown fan?
I don't know if I'd call myself a fan, but he's a good player, and he is a big piece of that Nuggets team. And I think it's good that he got paid. Can you say that contract again? It sounded like a lot.
$125 million.
Huh. Yeah, I think that's fair with
Isn't
the
that
way
just typical money in the NBA? They get paid
I wouldn't
ridiculous
say that.
numbers.
You could say it's I don't know. I guess with today's NBA money, it's not necessarily an overpay, but I guess you kind of need that to get the services of a guy who's kind of you'd call him like a high level role player, I think is where he lies. He's like the third guy there, third or fourth.
Who do you think plays for the NBA championship this year?
I mean, I think the Thunder are easily coming out of the West again. They didn't lose anybody, and they're really young, so I don't see how they're not the favorite this year on that side. And then in the East, the Celtics are absolutely not going to be there. I will say that much.
Absolutely not.
The Pacers aren't going to be there. And I'm only saying the Celtics aren't going to be there is because Tatum's probably out for the entire year. So you're missing the engine of your team. And then same with the Pacers, no Halliburton. And so I think this gives way for the Cleveland Cavaliers to
there it is.
Well, that's actually warranted. They won 64 games last year and made it fairly far in the playoffs. They still haven't had that breakthrough in the postseason with this core, but they're all still pretty young. I mean, I think Donovan Mitchell's under 30 still, and then Garland, Allen, Mobley are all in like their mid to early 20s. So the core is young and really good. So I think they have the best chance to come out of the East, but I think the Thunder would ultimately take it.
Well, the NBA starts tonight, and once again, new money for former Jayhawk Christian Brown. Speaking of Kansas basketball, I saw something on social media that caught my eye last night. It was John Rothstein. John Rothstein did one of his video podcast deals, and I thought it was fascinating. The quote that he made on this was, Kansas is now universally viewed as the 6th best team in the Big 12 entering the 25-26 season and has its lowest external expectations under Bill Self ever. Can you imagine? I mean, Kansas basketball is a blue blood. There's no doubt about it. But now in this now redone Big 12, they are viewed as the 6th best team.
It's fair. I mean, there's a lot of better talent in the Big 12. I mean, they're probably not going to touch a team like Houston that has
Houston returns 3 starters from last year's team that played for a national championship. So Houston's up there. Let's see.
Houston, Iowa State's still pretty good. BYU is legit. Texas Tech still has a great program. I mean, those are the ones I think you really look to, and you can say like, yeah, those teams are probably better than Kansas.
I think Kansas has got some great time. I mean, they're going to have they could argue that they have the best player coming into the 2020 Darren Peterson. They have the best player there. And then after that, and then Flory Badunga, who I think is a very highly skilled big that hopefully takes a turn here. And Marco Jackson is back this year. I think Kansas basketball, it just depends. They've got some really good, talented young pieces. Do they gel together with some of these guys that they win at the portal? And like I said, I think a couple shows ago, maybe a week or two ago, I said something along the lines of, it's a different approach for Kansas basketball than it was just a few years ago. They decided to go really heavy portal a couple of years ago, and now they're deciding, well, we're going to go back to the way that we were winning more consistently. We were recruiting the best, and we were bringing them to Kansas, developing them, and then we were winning that way. And it feels like that's what Bill Self is going to try to do again here in the coming years with this great recruiting class that he brought in with Peterson, Rosario. I forget the big man that was at NC State or was committed to NC State and then flipped to Kansas. They've got some really nice pieces. We'll see if they develop into those players that they need. But it is fascinating to think about. Kansas is probably it's not the best team in the Big 12 at this point in time going into this year because Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, all those teams are considered better, at least at this point in time, and it's fascinating to think about it.
It really is. And I think they're still going to be a good team. There's still the floor is high as it always is for Kansas. I mean, chances are they're going to make the tournament, maybe make a little bit of noise. We'll see.
Kyle wants to know, and we'll maybe have to tackle this tomorrow. With college basketball starting up here by the November 1st, who is your early top 5 teams to watch out for and your underdogs to surprise us this season? Kyle, I'll have to do some digging.
I like that.
College basketball is so hard because every year is different. I mean, I bet you can go through and look at a lot of rosters, and there's not a lot of teams that look the same as they did last year. Not a lot.
Yep.
So, but I'll tell you what, Kyle, we'll do some digging and try and get that in for tomorrow's show.
Kyle, I've got some thoughts already, but
there you go.
I'll reserve them.
So Connor's got you covered, Kyle. But we'll do some top 5 teams to watch out for and your underdogs for college basketball. We'll try and tackle that during tomorrow's show. We'll squeeze that in. All right, we need to get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball high, deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the time. Digger's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
All right, as we wrap things up here today, don't forget more regional volleyball happening today. Mini area 1A, D1, 1A, D2 teams will be competing today. Once again, they got to finish in the top 2 of their regional to advance to Saturday. We still have not seen where teams that won yesterday or picked up 2 wins to advance to the regional round where they will be going. Hopefully that'll be later today. We'll see that come to information. Of course, best luck to Goodland Cowgirl Golf, Braylon Stupka for Colby as they continue day 2 at the Acacia State Golf Tournament over there in Salina. Anything you got to get off your chest here before we get out of here?
Yeah, I can't help but say something about that college basketball stuff we're going to talk about tomorrow. These guys might be pretty good.
Ohio State, for those who aren't watching on the Pearl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We'll see. We'll see about that tomorrow. That'll do it for our program. Thanks again to Henry Chisholm. Thanks again to you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow back here on the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.